Do you have a thymoma or have you been diagnosed with cancer? My name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is Thymoma Rare Bird. I'm doing a series on some of the things that caused me to be a rare bird. My business was created because I want to serve those entities in the river of life that are a unique frequency, that maybe have had a difficult time finding the medicine, the antidote that they need to the poisons they've had to stew in life. And Heather Feather, in her 50th year of life, has created a thymoma in her chest. A thymoma is where the thymus gland, or that which creates your white blood cells, your T cells, and forms your immune system, starts forming a tumor. And so about 400 to 500 people in the United States of America form a thymoma every year. Only 400 to 500. It's about 1.5 per million globally that will have my particular type of cancer. And so even my cancer's rare. I'm so unique. What a weirdo. Good. Yeah, I'm grateful to be a rare and unique bird. And if you watch Heather Feather, you likely are too. You're somebody that I often pray over, and I often pray to bring medicine to you. And my YouTube channel, 𝐸abirdmedicine.com, which you can subscribe to, is one of the ways that Heather Feather offers humanity her unique and rare perspective for free. You can also hire me for individual services through 𝐸abirdmedicine.com. Under services, all services are 20% off July and August. But the reason I wanted to do this series of talks on being a rare bird is I do want to connect with those people globally that are like me, that are looking for something kind of unique and distinct. I started researching when I was diagnosed with a thymoma because I am a deeply spiritual person, and one of my autistic special interests is spirituality. I started researching the spiritual cause of a thymoma. The thymus gland is known as the seat of the soul. So it's in between Anahata, the heart chakra, and Vishuddha, the throat chakra, which are connected. We should be speaking and expressing from the heart, not judgment, if we want to be aligned in our chakra system. But there's a kind of turquoise light in what is called the seat of the soul between our heart and our throat or expression center. And so there's something to be said for the way the heart and one's expression are not being aligned when a thymus gland creates a thymoma or cancer, or the body attacking itself in the seat of the soul. And I was listening to Gabor Mate. If you don't know him, he is a beautiful, phenomenal man that does talk about how addiction stems from usually trauma. He has a very compassionate perspective on looking at aspects of our world where a lot of people want to apply judgment rather than understanding, and I'm always grateful for his perspective. But he's a person that's also worked with many cancer patients. And he said he is universally found to be true, and especially in women with cancer, that the cancer is created from believing that you can't say no, that you don't have a right or the freedom to express no. Definitely, Heather's had tons of experiences where I did not feel liberated and free to say no. No is a word I've had to learn, and I've had to learn that it doesn't require even an explanation from me. No is an appropriate answer. It doesn't require explanation. But I have so much empathy, I don't know that I'll ever just be like, no. I'll be like, no, because blah, 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 way too many words. And there's a component of creating cancer in the body that he sees again and again and again, not only where you feel like you can't say no, but there's tremendous pressure for you to always be polite, for you to always be kind. People often create it, those beings that tend to be deeply in service, deeply outward focused, deeply thinking of others. Anyone in the river of my life would very likely describe me that way, because I've been devoted to serving humanity for decades, and I am always devoted to being nice. Even when I leave a toxic romantic relationship, I leave it in beautiful ways. I put a bow on it and walk away, right? I don't set it on fire with gasoline and apply a lot of judgments and drama. I just go, that's okay. Here's what I've enjoyed about you. May you be blessed in what you seek to find in this life. And I've had many lovers that I'm sure would echo the sentiment from me, that I have offered kindness, even though that's maybe not necessarily what was being offered to me in relationship. I've often left friendships in many different circumstances, jobs in which toxic dynamics were present, and instead of contributing to more poison in the world for the poisons I'm drinking, I've offered medicine, kindness, the love that I am, the authentic truth of me, instead of whatever XYZ-ness. Because I'm not real interested in a bunch of drama about what didn't work. I'm interested in looking at and pointing people to what is working. It's what I often do in friendship. I've had friends tell me, like, I love going for walks with you, and you are such a divine friend because you always point to like what is really awesome in me. You tend to be very advocating, and I am the advocate, the INFJ. That is my tendency. But what is true for me is that means that between Anahata and Vishuddha, in the seat of my soul where this tumor was created, I have not been expressing all kinds of things, including anger. Heather has not wanted to pour her depression into you. So Heather, when she's depressed, you will notice throughout her life, she's not been calling you. She has been doing all kinds of work to find the medicine to get her out of the darkened expression in her mind so that the waters of her heart can lift in the paradigm. And I don't, when I'm angry, I don't call people and vent. They've actually found that venting increases cortisol in the body, activates the fear centers in the brain, and actually does not serve your wellness. So when you complain and complain and vent and complain, you're like, I just got to get this out. The studies show that it isn't helping at all. That it's more important to constantly choose this thing that Heather's been doing, where you choose the positive thing, you do the loving thing. The challenge is I am angry. I mean, I'm Sagittarius, Cancer moon, and that Sag is cusping Scorpio, and that Cancer is cusping Leo. I always say I'm like fire water, like a spice of drink. But I am a double fire sign. I've got double fire in my elements because I'm 0 degrees on that line, which means I have ample supply of anger in this life. And the truth is, my heart, the waters of my heart, need this freedom of expression from my throat into the world so that I can be liberated and not hold it in the seat of my soul, all the things that I didn't allow the freedom of expression in my being. There's a book that I grew up with called 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿, You Can Heal Your Life. There's another variation called You Can Heal Your Body. 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿 worked with tons of cancer patients and tons of AIDS patients. She's no longer alive, but I've known a videographer that worked for her, and she was like, man, she's the real deal. And 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿 connected conscious thoughts behind diseases that form in the body, right? And so when I was growing up and I had any type of illness, my mom would be like, get 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿, let's connect to what you're thinking. It's causing this imbalance in your body, let's take responsibility for what we're creating. A lot of people think cancer has to do with their genetics, but if you follow Bruce Lipton, who talks about epigenetics, 5 to 10% of cancer formed in the body actually stems from your genetics, which means 90 to 95% of it stems from your consciousness. And we know from Thomas Young's experiment in 1801 called the double slit experiment that your consciousness is collapsing the waves of probability called your body into the particles of your being through your thinking. And so what I've been working to do is free my expression. And I went specifically to people in the river of my life that I consider tribe or family. I went to my family and I went to my friends, and I told them all, I do not want to be responsible for nurturing relationship in 2026. I want to heal this spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally in my being. And because I'm low energy going through chemotherapy, and I'm also launching rare bird medicine and only working for myself, which requires a lot of energy, I don't want to have extra things to do with my energy. I also don't want to contribute to what created the tumor in the first place, which is feeling like if what you're saying angers me, I do not have the freedom to say whatever I want to say. I don't. Heather works to never increase drama, to offer agape, to be unconditionally loving. I follow a lot of spiritual principles. I'm a deeply disciplined person, and I'm deeply spiritually disciplined. I have tons of ally spirits in the spirit realm. I'm a spiritual warrior. It could easily be said that's at the helm. But I do need to express my anger, And so I've asked everyone I love, please let me not have to nurture relationship in this year. My brother and sister have super honored it, my beloved family. I have a dear friend who's dealt with a lot of cancer, and he cares so much. He's continued to check in with me. And so I just had a talk with him to please just give me the grace of this and we'll connect afterwards. But I've also had people that are narcissists and takers continue to try to get supply from me. So I've started to kind of see the nature of some of the relationships in the river of my life that no longer deserve my attention, You can connect to Gabor Mate. You can connect to 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿. You can connect to some of the consciousness like epigenetics from Bruce Lipton. If you want to consider different ways to heal this day, you can also go to rarebirdmedicine.com, Click on the classes link at rarebirdmedicine.com and sign up for the Lionsgate Portal class if you're ready to heal. 𝐬𝐮𝐻.